everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is didnt, and yeah, so today's video is actually a video I posted during our Finding Purpose in Pain Summit, and I just felt prompted to also post it on YouTube for those who haven't watched. And literally it's just me obeying God. I would have it another way, but I guess this is how he wants it done. So I think it's easy for a person to stand. Okay, not it's easy for me to speak about, the things that I've been through. Obviously I'd have to be ready and talk about how people hurt me and all of that, than it is for me to stand before you and tell you about something that threatens my reputation, something that I did that threatens my reputation. And for a long time the enemy has played around the fact that I was unable to expose the very thing that he kept accusing me of. And when I was prompted to post this video, I was just like, you know what, any opportunity I get to disarm the enemy, because if you now decide to expose the very thing that he uses to accuse you, then you've taken away his power. So I'm just like, if there's an opportunity for me to disarm him, then I'll do it. So yeah, this video is a short testimony about my journey in life and why the beauty of transparency exists. And yeah, I hope it serves as an encouragement to you guys, and I hope it helps you in some way. And yeah, please don't forget to subscribe first if you're not subscribed. If you're not a subscribed viewer, click the notification bell, like the video, do share your thoughts on the comments, and yeah, let's do this. Make me feel better, please don't be quiet because I'm really about to be transparent in this place. So yeah, enjoy the video. Hey there, welcome to the Finding Purpose in Pain Summit. My name is didnt and welcome to it. I am so excited and I'm so glad you guys decided to join us, and I hope this will be impactful and it will bless you, and most importantly I hope you take out of this something that you'll carry throughout and that will help you find your purpose in your pain. I just want to say welcome. This is what this video is about, and just to introduce the beauty of transparency to you and why we are actually having this summit. So the beauty of transparency exists to reintroduce the God who pursues, the God who heals, and the God who restores. And I know it's so hard for me to explain the beauty of transparency without telling you a bit of my story. So yeah, I'll just give it to you really quick, and then we get into the business of these 3 days. So I grew up in a family that's somewhat dysfunctional. If you know me and you've followed me on Instagram or on YouTube, you'll know I do talk about it openly, although there are some things that I don't really mention. So I grew up in a family where my parents did not really get along, but it wasn't the whole time. Like somewhere along the line they stopped getting along, or I started realizing that they don't get along, and that tainted my relationship with my dad so bad that I couldn't be in one room with him. I couldn't see myself having any kind of conversation with him. I shut him out completely. And my shutting him out wasn't because he was nasty to me in the beginning, but it was because I chose sides. I chose my mom's side over his, and because of that, everything that I thought of was in protection of my mom. Everything that I did was in favor of my mom. I didn't give him the benefit of the doubt. I was young, so yeah. So when I got to varsity as well, it was the same thing. I was struggling with forgiving him, and it was very hard for me to come to terms with a person with the fact that he does that and whatever he does to my dad, to my mom. And I remember just in short, in June 2015, I think I sent him a message, and when God was telling me, what, you need to forgive. You can't be, standing around in pulpits and, preaching and praying and not, but you have this grudge against your dad. And I sent him an SMS and I was like, listen, this is what it is. I am sorry for this, I'm sorry for that. I shouldn't have come into your business with my mom. And I he didn't respond. Oh, actually, I don't remember, because I actually didn't care. I thought it was just a matter of, I tell him I forgive him and it's all good for me, and I'm out of there. And yeah, so and then 3 days later, I remember I was having a conversation with my friends about something that reminded me of him, and I sent him a text asking for money because I needed money for something. I don't even remember what it was for, and he didn't respond. And fine, I gave him the whole day to respond. He doesn't respond. The following day, I sent him a text and I'm like, how my guy, I sent you a message. Are you gonna give me the money or you're not gonna give me the money? I think I was still angry at the text. Yeah, he didn't respond to the text. So the day after I sent him that text, that very not so nice text, my mom calls me in the morning and she's like, you know what, mommy, daddy, go he's in ICU, and but he'll be fine. So I hung up the call. I was like, okay, cool, he'll be fine. So I went and I sat on my bed, and the Holy Spirit led me to the story of the Shunammite woman. I'm reading, I'm like, oh, amazing, this is great. A few hours later, if not minutes, I get a phone call to say, hey, you need to come home real quick, something happened. And the first thing I said was, where's my dad? No, the first thing I said, I was like, where's my mom? I think about it now, I'm just like, dude, you just received a call that same day telling you that your dad is in ICU, and you ask about your mom instead of your dad, and that's when it hit that, what, something was really wrong with how I perceived the whole situation. It was terrible. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, he can't be gone. We still have so much to talk about. We still have so much to iron out, and I didn't get time to tell him I'm sorry, and from the bottom of my heart, that is, so it was very difficult for me to come to terms with it. And I'm one person who doesn't easily show when I'm hurting, and it took a while for me to actually grasp the fact that he's gone, and he's gone for good. So yeah, that's the one part of I'll just tie everything up at the end. Let me just give you a lowdown of what it is. And I remember in my first year of varsity, I met a guy and he took advantage of me. And that was one thing also that I'm like, I can't tell anybody. And this was back when it wasn't as there was not much of an awareness about it, about what consent is, so I'm just like, okay, consent, people will just tell me, dude, it was your boyfriend, you can't tell me your boyfriend did anything to you, and firstly, if I was to tell my parents or tell my mom, they'd be like, oh, kanti wajol. And firstly, like, that was like taboo back then. It was taboo in our churches back at home, that wajol, you're in a relationship, how are you there? Like, firstly, I must now, I must reveal that I was an evil person in the beginning, and you'll hear my child outside, but excuse me. And so so that was just horrible. So I carried that, the pain that came with it, the disgust that came with it, the shame that came with it. I carried it, and I never told anyone until I think after my dad's passing. No, I don't remember when. I told my friends about it, and that was it. I was just like, I thought I need to free myself from it. If I talk to somebody about it, then I'll be fine. But I carried it, And then, so along those lines, I got married, and as I was married, and before that, just shortly after my dad passed away, I fell pregnant. Now I'm a minister of God who speaks purity, who speaks all of these things, who's pregnant now. And now that also comes with its own stresses. It comes with its own, condemnations and accusations and everything. So I was really just out of it, and it was hard for me to deal with it. But yeah, it happened. So I had to carry that as well, you know. And then I went into a marriage. I married the same guy who made me pregnant. So as I was carrying this turmoil about, you know, being a minister, falling from grace and all of that, I fell pregnant after, you know, okay, so I fell pregnant again after 8 months of delivering the first baby. And I was terrified. Firstly, I was afraid of what people are going to say now, because I still carried the trauma of being pregnant. I still carried the voices of people telling me how much of a bad thing I was doing. And before I even go into that, even me having sex in the marriage setting was hard, was painful for me, because I still had to remind myself that, wait a minute, you're not doing anything wrong now, you're okay now, you know. So it was horrible. So when I fell pregnant, you know, a lot of things happened in that as well. So we aborted the baby. I aborted the baby. And yes, I spoke to my husband. I was like, you know, we're not financially ready. I had, like, the enemy was literally giving me reasons why I have to do this. And me being scared, I didn't really tell him the real reason why I did it, but I was terrified. I was terrified of things that I would have to hear. Then I just started a new life. I didn't want to hear anything from my mom to tell me, yo, why didn't you do this? You know, because my mom doesn't really have a filter. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, that happened. It was the worst decision I've ever made. I don't care what people are saying out there, that it's your body, you can make this. It's horrible, it's terrible, you know. And for me, it's even like, I'm even ashamed to talk about it now, because I was married. I can't even say, you know, I was trying to hide it from the people. But I'm just trying to show you that, you know, the emotional effect, you know, not handling people well in the church has on their lives. And that's literally what I went through, you know. So, and it doesn't justify what I did, not at all. So yeah, it was horrible. I blamed myself for a whole lot of things. And 2 years after that, or was it a year? No, 2 years after that, I fall pregnant again. And at that time, there was just like, you know, strife happening between my husband and I. And you know, when I found out that I'm pregnant, I was ecstatic. So fine, I found out on a weekend when him and I were not okay. And and I remember we rushed to the hospital because I had a cyst and it burst. So we wanted to find out what's going on. So I rushed to the hospital with my friend. And when we got to the hospital, after waiting for hours, I'm told, listen, you're pregnant, you're 6 weeks pregnant. And I'm like, wait, what? I just brought a cyst and now I'm coming back with the baby? Wow, you know, it was amazing. I was excited, I was scared, but I was just like, oh, finally my hope has come, you know. And you can imagine, you know, babies just bring back joy in a way that you can never describe or explain, you know. And fine, I went back home, and 2 days later I found myself bleeding, and then I lost the baby. And I lost the baby in the middle of a prayer. I was praying and I was covering the baby with the blood of Jesus, you know, speaking the word into my womb. You know, I was like, hey, putting the hedge of fire around my womb. Hey, I was in there, warfare prayers. And as I was praying, I could feel blood coming out of me. And I was just like, no, it's not happening. I was in denial. The following day, I had to go to the gynae, and the gynae told me my baby stopped breathing, and he was 8 weeks. And later on, we found out that he had I forgot what the term they used was, but he was not gonna be normal, you know. So I was just like, I was shredded. And I remember sitting in the hospital bed, and I was like, Lord, but what is going on? Like, you keep making me hit walls. And you know, just to add on to that, like why I said you keep making me hit walls, before I fell pregnant with that aborted baby, I lost my job. And I was the only one who lost my job in everybody who was a graduate in that company. I was the only one. Reasons, I don't know, you know, and nobody had the reasons. They wanted me to fight it, and I tried, but there was nothing that I could do. I was out. Fast track to now the second pregnancy that I lost, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, Lord, why? I'm like, is it because, and I started blaming myself. I'm like, okay, I know that I did something wrong by, aborting that baby, but now why? Everything is just, I just needed hope. Everything was just a mess, guys. I lost I had just, resigned, and I thought, heeding God's call to leave my 9 to 5 would, just open doors for me, and those doors were just not opening. And I was just like, when this happened, it was just a time where actually I just had it, and I was just like, wow, how do I then go back, to the people and still call you good when everything around me doesn't even have an ounce of goodness? I didn't see it then, because of pain. And he was like, he left me for a while, I think for 3 days, and when I got home, he's like, I need you to go through all of this so that you can minister with compassion. And I'm like, but, so you're telling me that I'm going through all of this for someone else? Come on, so I didn't get it. I was angry. I remember I cried, and I'm just like, you can't tell me that, when will my time be? When will it be where I'm like, yes, I'm following God's call, and I'm like amazed at the open doors that you have in front of me? And he's like, I need you to serve with compassion. Okay. And so a lot of things happened, and that's just the crux of it. I could go on and on, but this is not about me. There are a lot of things happened before and after that, and God is just like, I need you to serve with compassion. People relate to Jesus. We relate to Jesus because he's gone through it. Every pain that we feel, he's already felt on the cross. And people will relate. And he said to me, people will relate to me by you narrating your stories. People will relate to me by you testifying of the things that I've done. And the process of your healing will reveal Christ to the people. And I was just like, I just never had the boldness to be like, I'm going to tell people my story because I want to reveal Jesus. Until then, it had to take me, the beauty of transparency was, launched back then. But it had to take that miscarriage for me to come to myself and be like, my job is to reveal Christ. It's to reveal this love of Christ that pursues. And I said pursues because in my dirt, in the things that I did that I didn't even mention here, the abortion is one thing, but the things that I didn't mention that I did that were horrible, he pursued me. He didn't care how much of a filth I am in the eyes of men. He pursued me, and his love literally snatched me out of things that could have killed me, and I'm just like, I want to reveal this God who pursues, who says, I don't care if they think that you've done 1, 2, 3, that you're a mess according to their eyes, according to their rules that they set out, but I will pursue you, and that he heals. And when he heals completely. Even you will be shocked, and I want to reveal this God's love that restores completely. And that's why we're having this thing. I went through everything because my nations need this revelation of this God. You go through every single thing because nations are waiting to see this God. Creation awaits for the manifestation, and it's amazing how one testimony can change a multitude of people. It's just like reading the Bible. We can read the Bible, but it hits differently to each person according to whatever they're going through at that moment, and this is why the beauty of transparency is alive, or it exists. It is because we want to reveal Christ. We want to reveal his personhood, and we just want his, I always say that, I always make an example of if you're in a dark room and you try to clean in the dark room, there are areas that you will miss, but the minute you open the window and you let the light shine through, there are parts that you will see that I missed this spot. And that's exactly how it is. You become vulnerable. You open yourself up to God, that his light shines. Jesus' light shines through you so that he can show you the parts in you that need healing. I wouldn't have known that, you know, I was faulty in my growing up, in choosing my mom instead of my dad. I was faulty in doing this and that. I wouldn't have known that if I wasn't vulnerable to God, you know, if I didn't allow him to shine his light through me. And once he has shined his light through you, and he has cleaned up the mess that you couldn't clean up yourself because it was dark, you were in the dark, his light then it shines through you for others to see. And what do they see? They see him. And that's exactly why we exist. And I hope in the conversations that we'll be having, you will get a chance, you know, to allow him to be vulnerable for yourself and open yourself up for his light to shine through you. The ladies that we have for these 3 days are amazing. They've gone through their share of troubles and whatnot. But I want you to take this for yourself. Take this for yourself and find out what your purpose is in this pain. You know, yeah, I don't want to go on. I could go on forever, but I hope you do enjoy it. And yeah, so basically that is why we exist. So we will have a chat forum open for every video. So should you feel you want to ask something, you want to say something, you're more than welcome to make use of it. And if you have any questions, you can drop the questions on the forum, and we will have a live session where those questions are answered. So yeah, let's get into it. I've been talking, so let's get into the conversation. I love you guys, and God bless.